We are so glad that you are here. If this is your first week, I'm lead pastor Daniel Self, and we are so glad you're joining us, and you have come in at an exciting time. If you missed last week, we did an offering, which is not something we do except for once a year. And in the offering, we handed out gift cards for groceries to every single one of you. And I had people come up to me and say, I wasn't here last week. What do? See Pastor Jake, Pastor Dan, see somebody and anyone and ask them for one of these and they'll give you one, hopefully. Also, if you have given them out and you're like, I have more, I want to give out some more. Go find, that's why we're here to bless. We're here not just to wear t-shirts that say love God, love people, not just to say we go to church. We're here to be a church and to put that in action, to love people and put it in action. And there's no better way than for you guys to go out and just bless our community. And the stories coming back are amazing. I heard one about a little guy. I've known him his entire life. And he sat in here and he was given a card. And he walked out and told his mom, he said, I know exactly who this is for. He said, there's a boy at my table group who sleeps in his car with his mommy. And so the next day at school, he went and he said, hey, this is for you. And it exploded his heart and probably the guy he gave it to. And I just love that we get to go out and find and bless people that I would never meet and that our staff would never meet. So please, let's go do this. Let's go hand out and love people. We're at the end of a series on the life of David, this Old Testament king. And if you know anything about David's life, or if you've been here for the past couple of weeks, you've heard we're talking about this shepherd kid who was a giant slayer and then a broken sinner, a grace-covered king. We've seen David's heart as it is real, it is raw, and David has a relentless love for God. And today we're gonna see near the end of David's life, how does he end after all the things, after Goliath, after the battles, after the failures, after all the sin and the grace and the life, how does David finish? And his final act is not a battle. He steps into something that's legacy. His last days aren't about holding on to all the power and the wealth that he's fought for and accumulated. In his final days, he's gonna show the incredible power when passion and purpose meet and someone says yes to God. You see, David's entire life has been marked by making space for God. And in his final act, he's gonna do something that's gonna challenge each of us to make space in our life. And I wanna tell you, this is gonna be a powerful service. We're gonna end in a powerful way. And God's gonna call some of you into something big. Our first service was there was a lot of tears as we heard from somebody who God has changed their heart. And my hope today is not that you come and you're entertained, or for an hour you get childcare, because that's not, but that you come and you have an encounter with God, and that your kid does as well. In 1 Chronicles and in 2 Samuel, we're gonna look at David. He's wizened, he's successful, and he gathers his nation one last time to point them to God, to give them a vision of who they could be if they all say yes to follow. And in this final courageous act, King David reveals his truest passion, and he's cementing his legacy. A legacy isn't what you take with you, because in reality, we've learned you don't take anything with you. Legacy is about what's happening right now in your life. You are creating, you are living a legacy. You are living a life that's causing some sort of ripple into other people's lives. That's legacy. Your children, your grandchildren, your coworkers, the things that you find purpose in. Legacy moves beyond your immediate efforts and impacts others well past your days or when you've moved on. Let's focus on the ancient book of 2 Samuel. We're in chapter 7. We're looking at David. And he has had success in so many places. He has poured into his purposes and God has blessed him. He's fought battles. He's won battles. He has family. He has wealth. But he has a moment of clarity. And I want you to see this. 2 Samuel 7, verse 1. When King David was settled, he was in his palace, and the Lord had given him rest from all the surrounding enemies. Now, if you know David's life, it is a life that's been marked by battle and war with people around him, and God has given him peace. Isn't it amazing to think that God is gonna settle and give you peace from the enemies that have attacked you your whole life? That there are places in your heart and in your life that God is working to help you settle and have rest from the enemies? David has this. And finally, in this piece, David summons Nathan the prophet. He says, look, I'm living in a beautiful cedar palace, but the ark of God is out there in a tent. I mean, you got to picture David in his palace, the marble, the cedar, the gold, the absolute best that these ancient days could ever offer anyone on the planet. David's living it, but his heart is unsettled. And it's not because of his victory, not because of, well, it's because of his comfort he lives in. He's at peace. And he mentions the ark of God, which is the very place where God's presence rests upon. And it's in a tent. God's ark, where God's presence rests, is in a tent. While David's in comfort, God is in canvas. And this tension is burning within him that while he would have the best, he has provided much less for God. David, his heart is feeling something called spiritual angst. It's that feeling when you feel God call you to maybe step out or step up. When you feel God maybe calling you to do something or let go of something, and you feel that indigestion, you go, man, I must have eaten something. Sometimes that's God's Spirit saying, my daughter, step out here. My son, step out in faith. It's that spiritual angst. It's that holy agitation that I could keep living in comfort zone. But there's a holy agitation from God's Spirit calling me. And David, his life is almost over. God never stops calling us out of our comfort zone. And right here, he's calling the king. And David has this heart that says, God, I want to lift you up. I'm going to raise you up. I want to make you famous. I want the result of my life, not to be my own glory, but to be you. And so he begins to plan to build a temple, a house for God, for his glory. It's a holy ambition with pure motive, but God makes it clear, you're not the one that's going to finish this. But David has this hope that God's presence would be central and honored and permanent for all other people to come and find the God that's changed his life. David looks across everything he's built, all that he's accomplished, and he has a passion for God to remain central in his life, outside of his comfort zone, stepping out to make space for God. And this is the whisper of a soul of a person who desires God's way. And you can be in the comfort of success, in the comfort of things going your way, and you can feel that holy agitation of God calling you to step out once again. I mean, we look at our lives and the job, the family, whatever it is, the home, the things that make us comfortable. But there's that part of our hearts that longs to pray, God, I've got all this, but I want you to be the center of everything. I want my entire life to resound for you. It's this holy calling from men and women whose heart looks like David. As we continue to look at his life, David is someone in the Bible that we can associate with. I mean, he has big ambitions and he fails miserably. And if you read his writings about his failures and his hopes and his dreams, I mean, it resonates with us. David is worthy of inspection and worthy of our direction. Listen to how God describes David. Let me remind you what God says in Acts 13:22. God said of David, I have found David to be a man after my own heart. He will do everything I want him to do. I mean, can you imagine God saying this of you? Can you imagine? She is a daughter after my own heart. And she'll do whatever I call her to. Even when it's uncomfortable. Even when it's hard. He is a son after my own heart. And he will do whatever I ask of him. David's life is one marked by this. He had a strong faith and he had passion. He sought God. He spent time in God's presence. I mean, the longest book in the Bible, if you just open the middle, is the book of Psalm. And it is just David's prayer journal. And if you read there, you see his hurts and his hopes, his dreams, and through tears, how he has sought God and sought a life that says, yes, not my will, but yours. And it's amazing to see the whole story of his life and come to this final act. His pursuit of God led him to fight battles. Remember early weeks? His pursuit of God led him to fight battles of holiness and character, to defeat the private sins before God asked him to step up into public victory. God led him to face Goliath when everyone else cowered. He stepped out in faith. David's confidence was in the Lord. And now David was human and he chose sin and he followed into his lust and brokenness. But he didn't stay there. He turned to God and he found forgiveness and strength and oriented himself back to the truth. David embodied God's heart. He put love people into action with those around him. Remember? And he helped the hurting and the needy come to his table. David's entire life was marked by this. He made space for God's presence in his life. And it made all the difference. That's it. And now David decides he wants to make a space for others to come and experience this as well. He has this dream of making a space for others to come find the transformation that he has found. So he looks ahead to build this place of worship. And while he knows now his role is not to finish the work, he commits himself to doing whatever he can to prepare it, to prepare the place for other people. He's a pioneer who sacrifices for the sake of others who will come after him. So he begins to take stock of all that's ahead and all that he has in his power. He looks at the purposes and the vision ahead, and then he looks at what he has, and he leverages what he has for the Lord's calling. Listen to this in 2 Chronicles 22:14. He says, I have taken great pains to provide for the temple of the Lord, to create space for God. 4,000 tons of gold, 40,000 tons of silver, quantities of bronze and iron too great to be weighed, and wood and stone. I mean, this is billions of dollars in today's economy. Stacks of timber and stone and metal and warehouses overflowing with supplies, and not to mention plans drawn and workers trained, leaders rallied, volunteers gathered, all to make space for others to find God. David wasn't building this for himself. He would never actually see it. He was building for God's presence. He was building for the future of those who would come after him and those around him. He's preparing a place for others to meet God. And Orchard, this is who we are. This is why we pull aside. In weeks like last week, we hand out the gift cards. This is why we do Operation Christmas Child, to send love around the globe. We want to be this church to show God's love in action so others know him. This is the heart of David, and this is the heart that we're after. That God would look at us. I mean, we are this like just funky Rocky Mountain church, you know? Do you know how strange we are? When I go to these pastor conferences in the South, and the people from the South are there, and I'm like, man, you guys, let me just tell you a little bit about our church. I mean, I love who we are. I love the diversity and our unity of how we believe and vote and live. And all, and we are coming together to become more like Jesus. We're coming together under unity of him. And that God would look at us and say, I have found the Orchard to be a church after my own heart. They will do whatever I ask of them. I want that to be true of us. Like David, we are already building a place for others to encounter God. We baptized this guy Peyton last week. I was like, if we were talking about how he got here, Peyton looks over and goes, my friend Ant invited me. And then, Ant, how'd you get here? My friend Nubia invited me. And then Nubia, how'd you get here? My friend, like, to see that we are the people who are inviting others to come in and making space so they can find and experience what we've experienced. God is doing a great work here. He really is. And I believe he has seen the heart of David within us as a church. And in January, we're gonna step out in faith and do something that has never happened in this region. This third Sunday morning service. And let me just ask you something. Do you think I'm doing this for me? Do you think I need to talk more? Do you think we're doing this for you? Like, listen, I want you guys to upend your entire schedule. We're changing every service time. It's gonna be a hassle for everybody. Let's do this for us. This is what we really want, right? Do you think we're doing this for us? No. We have parking, don't we? You have a seat. Your kids have a space. Listen, we aren't doing this for us. We're not making space for us like David. We're making space for those who will come after us. And in January, we're gonna adjust everything and we're gonna figure it out. And yeah, there's gonna be some upset people and some very happy people, but in the end, we are doing this for a purpose. As new parking opens up, as new seats open up, as new room in our kids' classes and next generation opens up, new faces are gonna walk in these doors. A single mom barely holding it together, looking for hope and support. A teenager who's just lost in anxiety is gonna sit in this room and hear Jesus call his name. The skeptic who's been burned by church in the past shows up and feels something truly authentic, feels the presence of God. The retired business couple who's retiring here from all their success, finding a new life and renewed purpose. A young family working hard to make all the ends meet is gonna find solid ground of truth and relationships. Like, we're gonna see this happen. People we know, people we work with, people we recreate with, they're gonna come like you once did. Wondering if there's really something to this whole God thing. And you know what? God in his kindness, as he continues to speak to us, we're gonna see that they're gonna experience what we did. In moments of worship, in moments of message, during a baptism, their hearts are gonna be stirred. They're gonna make decisions that change their life, their family's life, and their eternity. I mean, each baptism, you're gonna see some today, each baptism is a story. Each baptism reminds me of this. We are a church with the heart of David to make space for others to experience God. That's what we're building here, not with stone, but with service. And every greeter, every kids volunteer and teacher, every tech team member laying bricks and making space for other people to experience God. And David learned something. David learned the truth about God's movement that he models for us, that it wasn't really about him, and it's not really about me. That he was a man after God's own heart, and he modeled that he didn't build for himself, he gave and he served for others. The man after God, his heart declared, God, take what I have and do something that I never could. And that's the heart of legacy. That's what he's gonna end with. Here's my resources, my time and my service, my leadership. God, take this and do something that only you can imagine. And God is calling us into this journey. As I look at the final act of David's life and I see who I want to be and how I want to live, he's calling us into this individually, but it's gonna require a deep shift in our perspective. And some of you are new and you're just still kicking the tires on this God thing, and that's okay, you can do that. For those of you church veterans, it's gonna require a shift of how you see church, and I want you to see it through God's eyes. And that means this, that we stop looking at who is in the seats around us and shift our eternal perspective to see who is not here yet. The young families, the retired, the working, the recreating, our community, our coworkers, our loved ones. We stop noticing how they're filled and stop noticing that the most important chair in the church is the one that's empty. And who is it that I'm inviting? Who's gonna end up like Peyton last service? Because someone said, hey man, will you come sit with me? God's heart is out there right now. Listen, this blows me away. While we're in here, and listen, for some of you, it took an act of God to get you here today. I remember having kids. And some of you, you're surprised even now, like, I didn't even know how I got in church. I didn't plan on this. But did you know, while God's working in here, did you know he is right now working outside of this place? Did you know right now in our region, he is drawing people to life. He's drawing people to hope. He's calling them to Jesus. He is the God of lost sheep and prodigals and the wounded and those who've been burned by church and religion and the wanderers. If that's true, then we have to be a church that sees all this through his eyes. So just like David, we look ahead and we make space for who's not here. And in January, that's what this is all about. 3 services, 3 new times, 8:30. You guys gonna come to that one? 10:30 service. Yeah, sign me up for the 8:30, right? Hey, on a powder day, doesn't get any better than the 8:30 service. 8:30, 10, and 11:30. We're adjusting. We are adjusting. We're shifting. We're sacrificing and creating room, not for ourselves, but for those who haven't yet experienced Jesus. The calling ahead is bigger than ever before. And just like David, we're gonna need to step into this in a greater way, because what sustained us in the past year won't fuel what's ahead for us. In fact, our financial pace is already not kept up with our growth rate. And as lead pastor, there are Goliaths that I face in these places, but I trust God and I know He's at work in who He is calling us to be. I just have unshakable faith as He continues to speak and call us out. And we see this very thing in 1 Chronicles. Listen to David's heart. He's the leader. Listen to David's heart. In 1 Chronicles 29, 3 and 4, you catch a vision, a glimpse of what captured the man after God's own heart. He says, because of my devotion to God, I'm also giving from my own private treasures of gold and silver to build what is ahead. This wasn't religious duty. This wasn't some preacher saying guilt. I always say this, it's never between me and you, ever. It's just not. It's not how we operate. He was moved by a godly vision. His heart burned for God's presence, and it overflowed in generosity. He wasn't fueling a project. He was fueling a purpose. And I believe that God is asking us these things. But here's the gratitude. Every time I begin to pray, all I can think of is gratitude. And so forgive me for saying this again, but I'm just blown away by what God continues to do. Over 200 decisions this year alone to follow Jesus. Add that to last year, that's 402 years, 503 years. As God continues to call and grow. And if we say, you know what, we're done making space, I think God's shown us that He trusts us. We're gonna make space, and He's gonna bring them in. He's bringing us in. He brought you in, He brought me in. So He continues to move and call people. Then we have 100 baptisms this year, which matches about 100 from last year. God continues to call people to life change. Listen, we have seen wet floors on Sunday morning as baptism water just gets spilled everywhere. That's why I got into this job. That's why I'm even a part of this, is to see God move in authentic ways. And what's it like to be a part of a church and to sit here on Sunday and just see God move in a way that no one could do? It's humbling. We are about people coming to Jesus and learning to be more like Him. And so when we give out of gratitude because we've seen His goodness. And listen, nobody in this place is looking for a trophy of attendance. We're looking for transformed lives, period. That's it. And like David, we offer what we have for what's ahead. David's generation was preparing a place for the others who would come. And the truth is, David did not get to see the full glory of what God did. He didn't even get to see all of it, just like some of you will not be able to see it. I actually talked to our nursery workers this morning, and I personally thanked them for what they're about to do. Because and here's why, when this captures your heart, when we see that we are all in this together and we're all serving our community and those who aren't here yet, those who we don't even know, you may be so busy rocking a baby in the third service that you miss someone being baptized. But listen, your service in there with an infant is allowing two very tired parents to sit in here undistracted and have a holy moment. And they're gonna hear God call them to get baptized. And those parents are gonna make decisions that will forever change that infant's life that you hold. It's about all of us. It's not about the stage. It's about us, the people, and all that we're gonna see God do in us and through us. And every one of our teachers and every one of our volunteers up there teaching the next generation. Listen, I am so grateful for them right now. Because not only are they investing in the future of the church, but they're providing each of us a moment to sit here and hear God's move in our hearts. Listen, you might be at some point so busy serving in third service, creating tangible parking and seating spaces, that you miss something. You miss a baptism or you miss it, but you're creating the space for someone else to see it. Because remember, it's not about us, is it? It's not about us. So I want you to talk to God. It's between you and him. God, how do you want me to step up as we enter into this new season? As we close this series of David, I want us to see that we are called specifically to have a heart like his, to have a heart like him. And what makes a heart after God's own heart? What makes this? I want to tell you something. It's not perfection. David shows us that. It's pursuit. You see, we get so caught up in perfection, don't we? And when you come in here, if you're like me at all, you come in and you go, man, I have had a rough week. If these people only knew. In that first worship song, you're just working through all the stuff you did. Oh. It's not about perfection, it's about pursuit. Check your shame at the door. Come home to the Father. You are forgiven because of Jesus. He gives you peace. He gives you hope. Either it is true or it's all a lie. He has said these things. So you don't need to bring your condemnation in here. Instead, bring that heart open to run to him. Lord, I have had a terrible week. I am pursuing you even in that instead of avoiding you. It's not about perfection. It's about pursuit. Through the mess and the victories, through the failures, through the success and the faith, David continued to chase after God. He fought private lions in his own integrity battles so he could someday step up and face public battles in front of giants. He repented of his sin. He turned. He let grace cover him when he failed so miserably, and he carried needy people to the table of God so they could know him as well. And in the end, he gave everything, his time, his treasure, and his trust for God's presence to make space for other people to experience the same thing. That's the thread that goes through David's life. It is this. It's surrender. It is surrender. And perhaps today, the only thing you remember is this. Where is it God is asking you to surrender again? Because we think we're in control, but we're just white knuckling it, aren't we? And we're in control of a lot less than we think we are. It's surrender. God, my life is yours. My reputation is yours. My kids are yours. My marriage is yours. My finances are yours. My worries are yours. My health is yours. That diagnosis is yours. What is it you need to surrender today? Listen to the words of David in Psalm 25. He said, Lord, show me the right path. I'm surrendered to you. Point out to me the road to follow. Like, just tell me, God, which way to go. I'll go. Lead me by your truth and teach me, for you are the God who saves me. All day long, I put my hope in you. David wrote this watching sheep, and he lived it sitting on a throne of success. Surrender shaped his whole life. This is your calling, to be like him in this way. Surrender your heart, making space for God in your daily life, in your home, in your marriage, in your integrity. Make space for God. It's not about perfection. It's about pursuit. Sometimes all I want to say up here is what God wants me to say. This week, I want you to make room for God's presence. Tomorrow morning, will you make space for God's presence? Will you make space? Will you silence notifications? Will you not have your phone be the first thing you bow to? Will you not have your notifications be the first thing you surrender your day to? Will you make space and reorient and reorder to make sacred room to pursue him? Read that devotional, do that Bible study, have that personal worship, make space on Wednesday, come to the men's group and get honest about it finally. Come to the women's Bible study. Make space for God to move. David made space, and it made all the difference in his life. And this verse, I want you to emblazon this on your heart and your mind. I want you to turn what I'm about to say, you've heard it before, I want you to turn this into a prayer every day. God said of David, I have found him to be a man after my own heart. He will do everything I want him to do. Would you begin to pray, God, I want to be a son or a daughter after your own heart. I will do whatever you ask of me. Will you begin to pray a dangerous prayer like that? Will you make space for God like that in your life? That you will be a woman after his own heart? That you will do whatever he asks? You'll be a son after his own heart? That you will step up no matter what he asks? And as you do this, you watch what God does. You see, here's the secret sauce. When you make space for God, he's gonna fill that with his power, with his peace, and with his purpose. And those places where you're just getting defeated, and those private battlefields where you're getting owned, and those places you need freedom, listen, make space for God to move in your life. Make space for him.